On this podcast, we talk about the books, both old and new, that are worth putting on your to-be-read list. I'll include the back cover synopsis, content warnings, as well as my pro and con list. To avoid any spoilers, head over to my Instagram at enjoylifewithme.angela. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these books. Let's jump in for the day. Today we're going to be talking about Unwillfully Tied to My Valentine by Storm Sterling, which is the second book in the Fire at Will series, which just released this past Tuesday on February 11th. The back cover synopsis says, "My brother's best friend is in love with me," or so he says. Fortunately, even with only 15% of workable eyesight, I can see right through his irritating charms. He may have fooled our coworkers, family, and friends with his nonsense, but he can't fool me. Unfortunately, when our CEO condones the organization of a 30-day mandatory Valentine's Day event, I'm stuck with William Ivan Delamar Hart, a man who bedazzles walkie-talkies and calls our boss twinsies. Somehow, this is the man that's going to help me keep my job. As much as I don't like it, the math is either I rely on Will or I face professional death. Let Operation Countdown to Valentine's Day begin. This is a contemporary rom-com. You get the tropes of coworkers, forced proximity, brother's best friend, childhood crush, enemies to more, she falls first but he falls harder, and a slow burn. The intimacy is moderate because there is a makeout, but it is a slow burn, so just be prepared. There's no language. Someone gets flipped off once, though. The violence is super mild. She's been hitting people with her cane, as she should. And as far as potential trigger warnings, there's some stalker tendencies, some dark humor, like jumping out a window when you get embarrassed kind of a thing. And then third act feelings. Not breakup, not miscommunication, but third act feelings. The only con I had with this one is that there was a lot of like Stardew Valley in it, and from what I've gathered, it's a fairly popular farming game, but it has like a horror movie plot, which didn't really seem to fit rom-com vibes, but I know that the author enjoys it, and it was nice to see like some personality show through. But on that note, as far as a pro, her humor in the prologue was hilarious. I was dying laughing. Thank you, Storm, for being you. It was great. And also, the banter in this one was fabulous. It was just like snarky banter. Like, you know I love it when you give me attention, he says, acting like a child, but worse, because he knows he's acting like a child. Not all attention is good attention, moron. Or when he says, "You can tell me what flavors you want, then we'll see if the magic lines up with your goals." Will, these are made of Kool-Aid packets and flavored syrup. There's no magic. Not with that attitude. Plus, it fits so well with her complete denial and his acknowledgement. "You've got some stalker tendencies, you know that, right?" "Yes, I've come to peace with it." Like, he just acknowledges, like, this is what the relationship is. Where on the other side, she's like, "We're not in any sort of relationship." He huffs, "That's what you think?" There was just complete opposites, and it was so funny to watch. And then the sweetest part is like the found family group that they have. It says, "We haven't physically fought each other since high school, when we realized it was juvenile and a waste of our time. His mother's extreme disappointment had nothing to do with it, obviously." Or when she comes up to him and says, "You're a good boy, Will. A good son." My eyes well up as I take in a shuddering breath. "No fair," I mutter back. Sneak attack. She laughs and pats my cheek again. Because it's not always like the blood family we're born into. Sometimes we find these family relationships in other places. So sometimes it's, adopted parents, and sometimes it's friends. Like, "Elle, you know I love you, right?" I ask. "Of course," she answers, hesitant. "Then know that it is with all the love when I tell you that what you're doing is insane. Because we have those friendships that just, you can say things like that as long as it comes from a place of love. I will say that my favorite part of this was yelling, "Charlie, value yourself more immediately." Right, boss? But I am wondering if we're going to get like a Roman and Elodie story or like Souls. Like, we have some potential to keep this universe going. I know that this was created as like a duo with Storm and Camilla's books, but I'm curious if we're going to get more kind of offshoots, and that would be super fun. It was a great Valentine's Day read, loved it, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are. I'll have my clickable link tree in the show notes, enjoylifewithme.angela. Tell me what you think of these two books. They've gone together really well. I love these authors, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. So I will talk to you guys soon. Happy reading.